What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Run with Jay channel. So today I'm super excited because we're going to be reviewing the Nike Alphafly Next Percent 2. So finally I get to hold this shoe in my hands. It's been a good 2 years since Nike released the original version, and a lot of things have happened since that day. You know, countless number of people have set marathon records with the shoe or personal bests. You know, Kipchoge broke the 2-hour marathon barrier with a modified version of the shoe. So, you know, a lot of things have happened in 2 years, and Nike decided to skip on last year releasing a new version. So this shoe pretty much has been hyped up, you know, for over a year now. And finally, we're nearing the, release date, at least here in the US. So I'm super excited. So in this video, we're going to take this shoe for a spin, take a look to see what's new, if anything, and see if it's worth the upgrade when it comes out. So if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Thanks so much for joining. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your contribution and support. So let's get this review started. So as usual, let's kick it off with the specs. So the price of the shoe is still unknown here in the US, but it looks like it's going to be the same price as the original Alphafly at around $275 here in the US when it is released. There was a limited release over in Europe in the middle of June, but that obviously got snatched up really quick. So we don't know when the official public release will be yet. Anticipating maybe sometime in July, or even later to August or September. Knowing Nike, sometimes the release date gets pushed back very far. So hopefully this comes out in the States very soon, so everybody can use it for their fall marathons. The offset of this shoe has changed. So instead of 4 millimeters last year of 40 to 36, now it's 40 millimeters in the heel, which is the maximum height according to regulations, and 32 millimeters in the forefoot. And one interesting thing about the shoe is that the weight of the shoe has increased by about half an ounce. So my size, 8.5, it was about 7.26 ounces for the original Alphafly. Now the new version, the weight is about 7.7 ounces. But honestly, while running in it, I barely noticed the difference. And also with the offset, I can barely tell that it's now an 8 millimeter drop instead of a 4. Honestly, I felt like the original shoe was about an 8 millimeter drop by the way it runs, but now it's official that this is going to be at 8 millimeters. So going over the components of the shoe, on the top you have Atom Knit 2 for the upper, which is a very nice top end Nike upper material that's made by steaming the material and then stretching it. But in this second version, I feel like it's a little bit more stiffer. And so it holds your feet a lot better as opposed to the first version where you can move your feet around a lot. So I feel like when I'm putting this shoe in, it really locks down your feet, so you get a really nice and good fit. And it's definitely even hard to get your feet in this shoe, hence why they give you 2 pull tabs in the top and in the back. And you definitely will need these pull tabs to get into the shoe because it's very stiff and rigid, especially when you're putting these on brand new. So this shoe is true to size, so similar to last year's version, I ran in an 8.5, so this year I got an 8.5 as well. I have plenty of toe room in the shoe, and when I put my foot inside the shoe, the new Atom Knit really locks down my foot, so I can barely feel any movement in the shoe. It is difficult to get your foot in initially and to take it off. So once you get it in, and it fits super snug, very comfortable for me. So people that are worried or that have bigger feet might have a harder time getting into the shoe, but once you're in, your foot will be locked and you will not feel much movement while running, which is a great thing. The laces have pretty much stayed the same with the notch laces, similar to the original Alphafly and also the Vaporfly as well, with the asymmetrical kind of pattern going down. Also in the back, you have more or additional padding in the Achilles area, which is also very similar to the original Alphafly. I feel like this kind of holds my heel a little bit better for some reason compared to the original one. On the bottom, of course, you have the bread and butter of the shoe, the Zoom X foam, which is Nike's proprietary foam and their foam that they use for pretty much all racing shoes. The only difference this year, you also have foam underneath the Zoom air pods that Nike introduced in the original Alphaflys. So not only do you get the bounce and energy return from the AirPods, you get additional cushion and foam underneath those pods to give you a very smooth ride and transition. And I definitely can feel it while running in this shoe. When I put the shoe on, it definitely feels like, an Alphafly, basically. When you have it on, it's weird and clunky to kind of walk around in, but as you turn up the paces and you start going fast, and you really can tell, feel the difference. And this shoe definitely delivers, as you would expect from a $275, high-end shoe from Nike. On the outsole, they changed the pattern a little bit compared to last year. Last year, they also had the rubber on the top. However, they changed the pattern a little bit, and the cutout is also a little bit more, so you see more of the plate as opposed to last year. Other than that, the grip was still very good. I didn't have an issue with the grip in the original ones, but the new ones, I feel like grip's a little bit better. On turns, of course, you have to be careful. It's not something you can turn super quick in, so I do have to slow down kind of, when I'm on my turns. But other than that, this shoe rides and feels, very similar to the original Alphafly. And of course, we forgot to mention that there is a full-length carbon fiber plate in this shoe to give you that energy return while running. And there also is a heel counter in the back for some stability, and the insole is attached inside the shoe, so you're unable to remove it unless you really pull on it hard. So Nike did also get rid of the reinforcement on the top of the toe area where the Alphafly 1 had, so they made the entire upper just a one seamless piece of Atom knit. Which I think was great. Honestly, I didn't really like the reinforcements of the original one because it kind of just slapped on my toes sometimes, while running, and caused a little bit of discomfort at times, but it wasn't a big deal. So initial impressions of the shoe, it looks like an Alphafly. You can definitely tell, and I really like the new prototype colorway for the second version. It's white, it's clean, and it's got the prototype, the markings on the inside of the shoe. The shoe just looks beautiful in my opinion. It hasn't changed too much in terms of the overall look from the original, but I feel like the newer version just looks like a shoe that's created for outer space. It's definitely a shoe in its own category and something that it definitely means business. When you're looking at it or even running in it. Initial run in this shoe, after putting the shoe on for about a good 5 minutes, it feels pretty much just like an Alphafly, but a little bit better compared to last year's version. I feel like the ride and overall, just feel of the shoe is a lot smoother, and I feel like the foam is a little bit softer as well, as opposed to last year's version. Last year's version, of course, is still an amazing shoe, and now you can get it on a discount. So if you love the Alphafly 1, I would go pick up a few before they sell out and they phase them out. I probably would still run in the Alphafly 1 if I didn't have the Alphafly 2, because that shoe helped me set my personal best and also helped me to qualify for Boston. So, running in the Alphafly 2, once you pick up the speed, you definitely can feel the smoothness of, the transition from heel to toe on the shoe. It is definitely amazing. I think it's a little bit better compared to the original Alphafly. Just a lot smoother, more bounce, and it's a little bit more comfortable. Especially I could feel with the extra foam under the AirPods now in the forefoot. That energy return is almost, it is just so prominent, and it's a lot more noticeable as opposed to last year's version when it's just sitting on the outsole. So Nike has done a great job adding some additional foam underneath those AirPods. Achilles area, the padding was very good. I didn't have any issues with heel slippage or blisters like some people did. I guess everybody's foot is different, so my foot fits the shoe very well. And when I'm running in this shoe, my feet is locked in, and it did not move pretty much the entire time. Running and turning corners is, of course, a little bit difficult, but, you have to slow down a little bit, but it wasn't like, I was going to twist my ankle or anything. So you just have to be careful when turning corners. And obviously, when in wet conditions, it might be a little bit slippery, but I feel like the rubber on this is a little bit better as opposed to last year's. Even though the rubber is a little bit thinner to save some weight compared to last year's version, I still feel like this new pattern with the lugs grips the shoe very well. So I wouldn't have any issues while running in wet conditions. So another thing to know when you're running in these shoes, especially the original Alphafly, if you do run in kind of wet conditions, the foam does kind of shrivel up a little bit after a long run. As you can see in my original Alphaflies, the foam kind of just like shriveled up a little bit since I was running in wet conditions the whole time. So just something to keep in mind, more of a cosmetic issue than anything else. You know, still runs and it's still very fast. Other than that, you know, for slower speeds, I do not recommend really this shoe for running. This shoe is definitely a shoe that you would use for, you know, running your marathon pace or doing tempo runs or, you know, doing 5Ks, half marathon races or anything like that. Honestly, I even, you know, did like a mile run in this shoe, and this shoe almost pretty much set a new mile record for me with this shoe. So it's surprisingly, you can use it for very short distances as well. So it's definitely probably one of my top go-to racing shoes now, and I'll definitely use this shoe for my Berlin Marathon coming up this fall. So like I said before, this shoe is definitely a shoe you want to use for, you know, setting records or PBs in your marathons, but you could definitely use it for half marathons and any shorter races as well. This shoe pretty much locks your feet in, and, you know, once you set your pace, you're just going to go in that pace, and you almost kind of forget about how fast you're going. This shoe just, like, in a way, kind of just automatically gets you in that pace and just locks you in for longer periods of time. And with this huge amount of foam, it definitely helps with your feet and legs, you know, to not get too tired. And, you know, when you're running long distances like a marathon, that definitely will help. And I do definitely notice that while even using the Alphafly 1, it kind of, you know, still wants to push me even though I'm super dead tired near the end of the marathon. But, you know, the shoe helps pretty much carry me to the finish line. The durability of this shoe is also something that a lot of people question. You know, how long can this shoe last for the price tag? Is it worth it? In my opinion, the original Alphaflies that I have has over 300 miles in it, and I still use it for long runs, you know, marathon training, and I feel like it still has its pop. The rubber on the edges might have worn off a little bit, but the rubber on the top is still pretty good, and I feel like I can get at least another at least 300 miles out of it. So the durability of the shoe, regardless what people say, I feel like you could use it for at least 300 or 400 miles. So I plan on still using the original Alphaflies for training and running, but, you know, and using the new Alphafly 2 for racing. So is this shoe worth the upgrade? I would say yes. I feel like the changes that Nike has done, you know, warrants me paying the full price for this shoe. I really can feel the difference with the foam under the AirPods. It just makes the whole ride so much smoother and more comfortable. And whatever they did with the Zoom X foam, I feel like the shoe was just a lot more softer. As opposed to the original Alphafly, when I'm running, I would, you know, have some pain in the heel, you know, from hitting, I guess, the plate or the foam. So it feels a lot softer and more gentle running in this as opposed to the Alphafly Next Percent 1. So Nike took 2 years to redesign and create the new Alphafly Next Percent 2. And after testing and running with it so far, I really think Nike has done a great job with the second version. I love the new additions with the extra foam, the new Atom Knit material, which definitely locks my foot in. And everything else that was good about the previous version, they kind of kept the same. They changed the pattern on the bottom a little bit for better traction. And however, the weight has increased by half an ounce, but honestly, I can barely notice the difference while running in both of these shoes. They are both super light in my opinion for what they have to offer, and it's definitely an amazing shoe, and I will definitely use it for my future marathons. So I know Nike has already designed another colorway for this Alphafly Next Percent 2 that will be released. So if the proto white colorway is not your thing, then they should be coming out with more of a greenish blue colorway right after that. So look out for that. So overall, I feel like the Alphafly Next Percent 2 was a hit. It's a great shoe. It's a beast, and it's definitely a shoe that I know I can set new records in running in, and I'll be wearing these in Berlin this fall. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know, what do you guys think of the Alphafly Next Percent 2? Is this a shoe that you're going to get, or you like the original Alphafly and you're going to get that at a discount? So I'll love to hear your opinions on what you guys think. For those of you that are fortunate enough to have this shoe already, I would love to hear your feedback on this shoe as well. So I hope you guys are all staying safe and your training's going well, and I'll talk to you guys on the next run.